So tonight we're going to be talking about, I called it preparing for rain. Okay? And usually when farmers farm and all that, they're preparing for the rainy season. So all this work they do all this work ahead of time before the rain comes so they can be prepared for their crops to grow when it actually gets there. So these are people that really do depend on the weather and actually do depend on the raining season. They don't make a living without it. They absolutely depend on it, and they trust that the raining season is going to come. But sometimes drought comes too. Sometimes it rains a little late, sometimes it rains a little early, but either way they have to prepare for it, trusting that it is going to come either way. Because they could be like, well, it might be late today, so we won't start till this time. But then it comes early, and then it's like, oh man, we gotta rush to plant stuff. You know what I'm saying? They get prepared, whether it's early or late, they're prepared for it. Have you ever seen someone in a spot or in position that you desire, but you feel like you just don't have what is necessary to actually be there? All right, you look at it and you're like, you know, that could be me, but it's not me. That's for other people, not me. That's for, like, if you're born in that kind of family, if you're born in that kind of line, that's for them. I'm not that type. That's not me. We've done that before. We've seen people in certain positions and we're like, that's not really me. And there's a lot of times where God is calling you to be in a certain spot that actually requires you to, hey, you're gonna feed into other people. You're gonna give to other people. You're gonna be in that spot where, you know what, people will be looking at you. And sometimes God puts that kind of calling over your life and you're telling him, that's not me. I am the piano player. I am the one who says God loves you at work and that's it. I don't go above that. I don't go below that. I'm just the one that holds the door at the front and says welcome, and that's it. I'm just the one who says, you know what, I believe, I go to church, that's all. You know, I don't live my life crazy, I don't go wilding out, and that's it, God. I just want to be that person. I just want to be that person that just sits at the pew, or just sits in the chair, receives, and that's it. But then God is like, no, I want you to be up here. I want you to be seen. I'm trying to take you out of there so people can actually benefit from the gift that you have, so they can feed off of that in their spirit. And you're telling God, that's not me. I am not that person. And it's funny because God will put that calling over your life and you're just looking at just how far away you are from it. You sit there and you're like, that's never gonna happen. No. You're saying, I'm gonna what? That ain't ever gonna happen. And it's funny because he'll say that, you know, sometimes you think it's early and he says a word about your life and you're like, I don't ever see that happening. He says, oh, you're going to preach in front of thousands, or you're going to, you know, do this, or you're going to do that. And you're just like, no, I don't ever see that happening. I don't have the capability to carry out what you're asking me to do right now. It's not in me. I don't have it. And he's like, no, I know you don't have it now. I'm preparing you for it. I am preparing you to be in that spot. I'm preparing you for when I call you, it's going to go. And even when I call you, you're still in that process of being prepared for the spot that he's going to put you in. But like I said last week, I mentioned how we disqualify ourselves from what he wants us to do. Because we say, no, I'm small. I ain't into that big stuff. You're calling me to be in that big stuff, and I'm very, very comfortable with the small stuff. This is what I'm good at, Lord. I'm good at the small stuff. You can't ask me to get bigger than this because this is what I like. This is what I'm good at. And he's like, you could think that, and you could tell me why you are not the person for it. But the thing is, it's going to come. The calling is going to come. So if he says, hey, this is what I'm going to do with you. This is your purpose. This is where I'm going to take you. There's no getting away from it. It's going to come either way. And you're going to fall into that spot where I'm either going to prepare for it or it's going to come and it's just going to run me right over. And then I have to wait for it to go in a circle again to come back. Because now I got to prepare again when it comes back. Instead of preparing for it the first time, When God say, hey, this is what I'm going to do with you, all right, this is what you said, Lord, I'm going to prepare for it. I'm not going to wait. Some people say, I don't ever see myself in that spot. And you know, that's fine. You don't see yourself there, but I do, and it's going to come either way. Ready or not, here I come. That's exactly what it is. Ready or not, it's going to come over your life, so you're either going to take it or you're not. And that's when you fall into, when you said you wanted to follow me, and you said, I want to give you my life, well, here it is. The time is now. The time is coming. You're either going to prepare yourself, you're either going to let me work, or you're going to run away from it. And a lot of people run away from it because they know what it takes and what it entails. And they see how difficult it is. And they say, I'm not willing to go through that. I'm not willing to do that. I like my life right now. I'm not willing to go through all that heartache. I'm not willing to always be thinking about, Lord, how I testify in front of others. It's a lot got on my mind. It's a lot to think about. And it's not something I want to do. So you live your whole life pretty much, Lord, let it blow over, let it blow over. He keeps calling you, he keeps talking to you, let it go over, let it go over. Until that one day where he's like, I'm tired of just going over you. You're allowing me to just go over you over and over and over again instead of just letting me take you and do my will with you. It puts you in a place when he calls us for these things that we really feel like, I'm just not ready for that. I don't have the qualities for that. Lord, I was not built for what you're asking me to do. It puts you in a place where, wow, like, I really need God. Because we think of ourselves. Us as humans, we think about our own abilities and we're like, I can't do that. I cannot do that. And the whole point of that is like, I know you cannot do that. That's why I'm asking you to do it. I know you can't do it. I'm trying to put you in a place where it makes you depend on me. So if I can't put you in a place where you're going to depend on me, you can't build your faith and you can't build your trust in my name. So I got to put you in that spot where it forces you to depend on me. Okay? Where your strength is not going to carry you to that purpose. And a lot of times I feel like us as Christians, we try to do it with our own strength and try to force things. We try to force things into the church. We try to force things on ourselves. There's people that try to force a calling on themselves. It's like, you were not called for that. No, but I'm taking it that it's mine. Okay? No, it's not. The reason why the door keeps shutting on you is because it wasn't for you. It's not your calling. Stop trying to force something over yourself that it wasn't meant for you. You keep looking at other ones and saying, oh, his call, no, focus on yours, the one that God gave you. And you try to do it with your own strength, and it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You have no control other than being obedient and preparing for what God is about to let loose in your life. But he's been preparing you for such a long time, sometimes without you noticing, and preparing you for the growth. Where I am today, if you were to tell me this 10 years ago, I would not believe you. Or I did not believe you. I didn't believe it. Oh, yeah, you're gonna have your own church in 4 years. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't believe you. I don't see myself in that position at all whatsoever. I'm like 19 years old. Like, what are you talking about? That ain't gonna happen. You know? Because I looked at myself and at my qualities, and I looked at me and I said, that's not me. I was not built for that. That's not who I am, God. That is so, I see what you've called me to do all the way over there, and I see myself on the other spectrum of what you've called me to do, and I don't believe that's going to happen because of the state that I'm in right now. But we don't see how, yes, it's all the way over there, but he's going to get you there. Slowly but surely, we're going to get you to where you need to be. I'm going to prepare you for where you need to be and where you're going to go without you even noticing. Because next thing you know, oh, well, here I am. You know, here we are together doing this. And if you were to tell me this like 10 years ago, I wouldn't believe you. All right? And God used the same prophet 2 times to tell me this at separate occasions. I don't even think he remembers. So, Let's go to James 5. We're going to go to James 5 to number 7. And it reads, "Therefore, brothers, be patient until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the precious fruit of the earth and is patient with it until it receives the early and the late rains. You also must be patient, strengthen your hearts, because the Lord is coming near. Brothers, do not complain about one another so that you will not be judged. Look, the judge stands at the front door." So when I said earlier about the farmer, the rain is coming. There's no stopping it. It's going to come. Whether it comes early or late, you got to get prepared because it's going to come at you. Okay? God is instructing us, you have to take action. So what is the first step on me preparing God for the rain that is about to come? Well, the first thing you got to do is plant. You got to plant a seed. You have to plant something so it can grow. If you don't plant anything, you're never going to see growth. But we get so scared of planting. Why? Because we're like, well, what if it dies? What if I plant and it just dies? There's certain things we have not, there's certain things in our heart we haven't even planted yet because we're scared that if I plant this, it's going to die. And I don't want to see that, and I don't want to go through that. There's times where we refuse to chase our dreams because we're like, I'm going to fail. What if I do fail? What if I do mess up? What if I plant into this education thing and it dies? What if I don't finish? What if just this decision, I could have been doing so many other things and I wasted all this time planting into this and it just dies? What if God is calling me to do a business, but I'm scared to plant into that because I'm scared that it's going to die? What if God is calling me to, what we're doing now, oh yeah, plant a church. Well, Lord, it's going to die. I'm scared of doing that. I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, if you don't, you're never going to see the growth. You're never going to see of what could have been or should have been. And then we look at certain jobs, this is my dream job, God, this is what I want to do, this is what you put in my heart, but I'm just scared that I'm not going to be good at it. So I'm scared to actually plant into that because I don't think I'm going to be good at it. I don't think I'm going to learn. What if I fail? What if I get fired? What if all these things happen? And that's what goes through our mind. If God is calling you to move, you know what? You planted here, but I want you to plant somewhere else. What comes with that? It's scary because, well, I'm moving. I don't know anybody. I'm comfortable here where I know people. But now he's calling me to go somewhere else, to plant somewhere else where I don't know anybody there. So now it's like I'm starting over. I got to make new friends. I got to get this new job. I got to prepare now for this new environment that God is putting me in. Because when you plant somewhere else, it doesn't mean, God's going to move you and say, hey, now I want you to plant over here. Because what you planted over there is already grown. Now I need you to plant somewhere else because there's something else that needs to grow too. But it's not going to grow over here. It's going to grow over there. Over here, it's done. The tree's grown, the fruit is there, and it's going to keep going. But now I need you to go plant a tree somewhere else. I need you to go plant a seed somewhere else. Like I said, most of us have things in our hearts that we have not planted yet. Either because we think it's just too small, it's not really going to make a difference at all whatsoever. So I'm not going to do that, that's stupid. Because we think that's stupid. I'm not going to do that. God, that's dumb. You want me to what? I'm going to touch like one person maybe? Like, no, I'm not. It's stupid, it's small. I don't want to do that. Or you just feel like you are just not capable of carrying that out. But again, that puts you in a position where it's like, God, if this is what you want me to do, if this is what you want me to plant, I need to depend on you. And I need to believe that the rain is going to come so this can grow. Because here it says the rain comes earlier, it's going to come late. That's the part we do hate because we don't know. It's easy to do something when you know what the end result is going to be. It's easy to plant when I know it's going to rain tomorrow. It's going to rain next week. It's not easy to plant when you're like, I mean, it's the rainy season, but sometimes we can get none. I don't know what's going to happen. and Lord, you told me to plant this, and I have not seen your rain come by yet. What is happening? And so what happens, we plant, right? And then we're like, okay, I'm planting the seed, God, and now I need the rain to come so you can come. I want to see this thing grow. But then 2 years go by, there's no rain. God, why isn't this growing? You told me to plant this. You told me to do this. And you knew firsthand why I did not want to do this. And the same reason why I did not want to do this is exactly what is happening right now. This is exactly what I pictured. So we're okay when it's early. We're like, oh, it is here. Okay, cool. But when it's late, when it's not coming the way as fast as we want it to. But that's all part of the process to prepare, because we don't know when it's going to come, but you know what? I'm ready when it does come. Because sometimes you planted, but you did not plant in the right soil. So you quit because it didn't grow. So what you do is, oh, it's not growing. Okay, I'm just going to take this, uproot it, and throw it away. Didn't work. It's not happening. And so what happens is, sometimes we want to plant in soil and expect something to grow when it's not going to grow there. We want to sometimes plant seeds in our past, but it's not going to grow in your past when God is trying to do something new. That's the whole reason why you're planting. But sometimes we like to plant back there. Well, God, maybe if I just go back and just, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to grow. It will diminish you. It's going to diminish you more than what you've grown right now. You can't plant in the past. When you plant in the past, it's not going to grow. Sometimes you like to plant out of anger, out of jealousy. I'm going to do something to get back at that person. They did this, so I'm going to do this too. I'm going to plant too. And you're wondering why, man, this isn't growing. God never called you to plant that. My neighbor planted tomatoes, so I'm going to plant tomatoes. Lord, my tomatoes aren't growing. I never told you to plant tomatoes. That's not what I told you to plant there. So yeah, your neighbor's just growing because I told them to plant tomatoes. I didn't tell you to do that. I told you to plant grapes. That's what I told you to do. So you're getting mad now because, oh Lord, this isn't growing. I didn't tell you to plant that. You told yourself that because you saw everybody else and said, well, I need to play the catch up. I need to play catch up. I need to get to where they are real quick, God. So come on, bring the rain. I just planted. Not only did I plant one, I planted like 6 seeds. Something's got to come out of it. I planted 6. 1 out of 6. My chances are pretty good, right? Nothing's happening because he never told you to plant there. He never told you to plant whatever it is you're planting. That's why it's not growing, right? And sometimes another reason why it won't grow is because you simply just don't trust God. You simply don't believe that where you planted, something is going to happen. You do not believe the rain is actually going to come. You don't trust that the rain is going to come. Because you don't see the fruit of what you planted and it doesn't happen quick, now you just let it go and you leave it behind and you don't nurture that thing at all whatsoever. Because when you plant something, right, you got to take care of it. That's why I don't have plants. I don't got time for that. I physically don't have plants out there, so I'm like, oh, I'm just going to die anyway. I don't got time for that. I ain't going to do it. But when I plant something, I'm like, I'm going to pay attention to it. I'm going to make sure it lives. I'm going to nurture it, you know. I'm going to give it some water. That's what you do, right? But then when we don't see, oh, this thing's not growing, what is happening? It's just not working. I'm not seeing the fruit of what I'm planting here. Lord, I've been following you for like 2 weeks, and I don't see the fruit. Well, yeah, it's a short amount of time. Not saying that God can't do something in 2 weeks, as he absolutely can. But we get frustrated because we think God is the magic genie, and we're like, I gave my life to Christ. Lord, this is what you need to do for me. This is what you need to do for me right now. And he doesn't do it. And you're just like, what is happening? I thought this is what you're for. You're my genie. My 3 wishes. Come on. I have a lot. Give them to me. Instead of actually focusing on, you know what, God, you saved my life and that's all that matters. It really doesn't matter what you do for me or not. You already did the ultimate thing. You died on the cross for me, and that's really all I care about. I could be living in a box. If I have my salvation, I'm good. That's really all I need. That's all that is necessary. So sometimes the rain will come early, and sometimes it's going to come late. And when it comes late is when you get worried. But when the rain comes, I want to be ready for that growth and not it be a missed opportunity. It says here, the farmer waits for the precious fruits of the earth and is patient with it until it receives the early and the late rains. He waits for it. He waits for the fruit to come out of what it is he planted. He doesn't just say, oh, I planted this, it ain't happening, I'm just going to go inside and wait till next year. No, I planted, and I'm going to wait till this fruit comes. Because when that fruit comes, it's going to happen. Now it's going to be harvest time. Now I got to get to eat off of the fruit of my labor. But if I just ditch it and just let it go because it wasn't going at the pace I wanted it to, then I'm not going to get to that point of harvesting the fruit of what I planted. And sometimes it takes years. It takes years and years and years for you to actually see fruit of what you planted. But that doesn't mean God was ignoring you. It doesn't mean he was late. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that the rain came when he wanted it to. Because when it does come, that means you are ready now to receive the rain that is going to come. You see, if the rain came earlier, you wouldn't be ready for it. You wouldn't be ready for the growth. So now I have to wait a little bit because I need to wait for you. I'm going to prepare you for the growth. But you cannot be wanting this growth so early right now. You can't be expecting the rain so early sometimes because it's not going to come that way. It's going to come late because you're just not prepared for it. And that goes with everything. That goes with your job. That goes with your ministry. That goes with your spiritual life. You're just not ready. If you're to tell me I'm doing this, whatever, 6 years, I'm not ready. And God knew it. Just plant, and the rain is going to come, and I'm going to prepare you for it when it does come. And it says to wait for the precious fruit and to strengthen our hearts while we're waiting. And there's times where God wants you to plant in unknown soil. We go to places where it's like, God, nothing's ever grown here. Do you see anything else with life where you're telling me to plant? No. There's a lot that have died. I mean, I can see a lot of dead plants. So you want me to plant where things have been dead for a very, very, very long time, where nothing has actually grown? And he's saying, well, yeah, nothing's grown because everybody said the rain didn't come and they left. They didn't get to see. But what I want to do with you is I want you to stay. Sometimes God wants you to stay. Sometimes he wants you to leave. But when you're in that unknown soil and he's telling you to plant in an area unknown to you, somewhere that you have never planted before or other people have tried but failed. And they didn't fail because they weren't capable. They failed because they did not trust. They failed because they didn't believe. They failed because they weren't willing to wait on what God's timing and what he was going to do when he actually brought it. Because in that time period of waiting, that's what he's doing. He's building your faith. He's strengthening your heart, saying, how long are you willing to wait for me? How long are you willing to wait for the harvest? Because believe me, it's going to be worth it when it comes. But I'm preparing for it. I am preparing you for that harvest. I'm preparing your heart for that harvest. I'm preparing your mind for that harvest. You need to be strong in your waiting. What is it? The Lord says, those who wait on the Lord, what? Soar on wings of eagles, right? Mm-hmm. There's other things to it. I'm sorry, I don't memorize it. But those who wait have strength. And that's what you're doing. While you're waiting, you're like, man, Lord, I've been praying for so long. Lord, I've been waiting for something to grow out of this for such a long time, and it's not happening. What am I doing? Am I doing something wrong? No. But look what he's doing. He's bringing you closer to me. So the closer I can get you to me, the more prepared you're going to be for that harvest time. But for you to be prepared, I need you to be close. I can't have you far. I need you to be close for the harvest. I need you to cling on me for when this rain is going to come. Because it's going to come whether you're ready or not. It's either going to be a missed opportunity for you, or you're going to be prepared for it. And planting an unknown soil, man, is frustrating. Because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what is going to come out of this. This is something, Lord, I have never done before, and you're telling me to plant a seed in this area of something I have zero experience with. And you say, yes, I do. Why? It makes you depend on me. It makes you lean on me. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 11. We're going to start at number 8. So now we planted. Now is raining season. Now is the raining time. Lord, I planted, we waited. The time has come. The time is here where the rain actually came. Have you ever waited on something like so desperately and earnestly and it actually comes and you get really excited? That was me on Christmas when I was younger. It's like, man, I've been waiting for this day for so long. And here it is. I get to open my presents. I already know what I'm getting. Because I told mom and dad what I wanted, and I creeped under the bed to see the presents, and it looked like a shoebox, so I know what I'm getting. And you shake it, oh, what do I think this is? He'd put it in his closet sometimes too. We'd go in there and be like, oh, that's yours, don't we see? Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, it sounds about right. But we were so excited because that day actually came, that we wait so long for it. But the thing about Christmas is, those exciting times in our life is we know it's going to come. We trust it's going to come because we have a calendar that tells us when it's coming. I have something to tell me that this is going to come. You trust it. I already know it's going to happen. I already know this day is going to come. The thing about the rain is we know it's coming, but I don't have a calendar to tell me when exactly. Now the farmers, yes, we have our raining season. We have something that tells us it is supposed to rain during this time. And I have to trust God that the rain is going to come and it's going to rain on my seeds so I can make a living and sell these fruit and vegetables. Because I got to. That's all I got. If we actually had a faith where we treated it that way, this is all I got. Imagine. Imagine what would happen if we treated faith that same way. This is all I have. Because this house is good and all. The car's good and all these things are nice, but am I willing to leave these things behind for my faith? Am I willing to trust God that much that I will blindly go into something that is telling me to do without having absolutely no idea what's going to happen from there on? You got to really think about that. When God came to the disciples, follow me, to where? What are we going to do? You imagine if he did that today? Really think about it. I don't even think he'd get 12, to be honest. Maybe 2 or 3. In just one city, he'd probably get 2 or 3. Hey, come follow me. Yeah, leave all that behind and just come follow me. What you mean? I have security here. I know where I'm going to sleep. I know the lights are going to turn on. I know I'm going to have a mattress. I know I'm going to have a pillow. This is security for me. I know this area. I know where I'm going to come to at the end of the day. When you follow Jesus, that's gone. I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight. I don't know if I'm going to eat. But I trust that he will provide. I trust he will provide for you. Maybe not the way I think that I provide for myself, but he will supply my necessities. And the necessities come before the wants, because we want a lot of things. Do we need it? No, but I want it. God's going to say, look, I will give you what you need. And yes, I will give you the desires of your heart too. But there's a process to that. I'm going to give you what you need first. And if we were to actually trust God that way, for him to say, come knock on my door and say, hey, follow me, and just doing it. Not knowing where you're going to sleep, not knowing where you're going to eat, not knowing anything of where he's taking you. And there's 12 people that said, I'll do that. I don't have an emotional attachment to these things. These things don't give me anything back. They're going to fade away eventually. If I follow him because I see what he can do, that's a good guy to follow. I think I'm going to do it. God bless the ones that God's like, hey, I want you to move to Africa for a year. Okay. See, God hasn't asked me that because he knows what answer he's going to get right now. That seed has been planted, but the rain, it's definitely going to be late. I'll tell you that right now. He has to prepare me for that time. He has to prepare my heart for that day. When he asked me, hey, I want you to move over here, I was like, God, just give me 20. Just 20 years, man. Pension, 20 years. After my pension, you can take me anywhere you want. Just give me my 20 years. That's it. That's all I need. God, minimum. That's it. You know? I joke with him about that. So we'll read. We'll get into it. Deuteronomy 11, number 8. Keep every command I'm giving you today so that you may have strength to cross into and possess the land you are to inherit. And so that you may live long in the land the Lord swore to your fathers to give them and their descendants, a land flowing with milk and honey. God doesn't just want to take you to the land. He wants you to stay in it. God doesn't just want you to follow. I don't just want you to follow me. I want you to stay following me for the rest of your life. Okay? And as we proceed, number 10, for the land you are entering to possess is not like the land of Egypt from which you have come. We've all come from somewhere. Whether it was good or bad, we've all come from somewhere. And you have to understand where God is taking you is not like where you came from. Because sometimes we like to take stuff from where we came from to where God is taking us. And he's like, you can't take that. That cannot come with you from where you came from. You can't take that with you from where this new place that I'm taking you. I have to renew your mind now. And if your mind is stuck on where you came from, you're not going to be able to embrace where I'm taking you. Okay? Because some people, they think like, you know, where God is taking me, it's just not me, man. That's that soft stuff. I don't cry. I don't do none of that. I ain't going there. I don't want to go there. Good. You're going to stay with that mentality. You're never going to know what it's like to actually go to the other side. It might sound harsh, but it's true. You want to stay there? Stay there. It is your decision. That's how good God is. He gave you a decision. You can either stay here or you go to the other side. You could either be a light or you keep living in darkness. You go to the darkness or you go to the light. You pick. You tell me what you want to do. It is not like the land of Egypt from which you've come, where you sowed your seed and irrigated by hand as in a vegetable garden. You planted where you came from. That's why we don't like to move. Our roots are so deep into our past, into where we came from. That's why it's so hard to actually move those roots and uproot yourself and go somewhere else, And God is telling them, yeah, you planted where you came from and stuff by hand, but where I'm taking you, you're not gonna have to work as hard anymore. I know you were comfortable being a slave over there in Egypt, because these are the Israelites. I know you were comfortable like that, but I heard your cries. For 400 years, you were enslaved people, and I heard every single complaint. But I had to wait. I had to wait for Moses to be born, because I already had him in mind before you guys were even established, that he was going to lead you to the promised land. And I could not move any earlier until he was born. So some people might say, man, God, you're so late, man. 400 years? Jeez, that's a long time. I was preparing them. And even with all that time, they were still super disobedient. So it's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? It took 400 years. Where you sowed your seed and irrigated by hand as in a vegetable garden, but the land you are entering to possess is a land of mountains and valleys, watered by rain from the sky. It is a land the Lord your God cares for. He is always watching over it from the beginning to the end of the year. Where God is asking you to plant, He is taking care of it. He is watching over it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And you need to trust that. That where God is taking you and where He's telling you to plant, He's watching over it. If you've already planted your kids, if you've already planted your job, if you planted these things, God, I'm giving these things to you, I'm planting into the soil, you have to trust that God is going to watch over it no matter what happens. Whether the rain comes or not, whether this is so hard, I can't do this, God is watching over you saying, I know. I'm watching you. I'm taking care of you. I'm taking care of where you have planted. That place where you planted, where everything is dead, and that new place that I told you to plant in, I'm watching over it. But you can't just give up just because it ain't going right. That's how all these people, that's why it just keeps dying over and over and over again. People are not understanding that I am watching over it. That I'm watching over that land that you have planted in. From the beginning to the end of the year. So 13 says, if you carefully obey my commands I'm giving you today to love the Lord your God and worship Him with all your heart and all your soul, I will provide rain for your land in the proper time, the autumn and the spring rains, and you will harvest your grain, new wine, and oil. I will provide grass in your fields for your livestock, and you will eat and be satisfied. Carefully obeying God's commands. What has He told you to do? You have to ask yourself, am I carefully following what God has asked of me? And it says here, if I do that, He will send rain. He will send rain over my land that I'm asking to plant in, where there's absolutely no life. He's going to bring rain there and actually bring to life into what I've planted. He will provide rain for you in the proper time. It doesn't say your time, someone else's time. It says His time, the proper time. But when it comes to proper time, we always think, well, God, right now would be good. Right now is the proper time. He's like, no, it's not the proper time right now. You're not going to be ready for it. If I do it right now, you are not going to be ready for it. It's going to be on my time because I want you to stay. I want what you planted to last. And because I want what you planted to last, it has to come on my time. And all you got to do is carefully obey what I'm telling you to do. And if you do this, you will harvest your grain, your new wine, and your oil. You know what the grain is for? There's 3 things He lists here. Grain, wine, oil. Grain is for bread. People loved bread back in the day. And they weren't asking, is it gluten-free, is it this, is it that? Bread is bread, whatever. Oh, that's too many carbs. They weren't doing none of that. I need my bread. They love their bread. Okay? If Jesus were to come down and be like, all right, everybody have bread, they're going to be like, is it wheat flour? Is it rich? Is it, you know what I'm saying? It's like, but what grain represented was that bread. And it was just showing how God, what did He say? I am the bread of life. So if you're planting here, where I told you to, I'm going to bring the rain and you're going to harvest your grain. You're going to harvest from me. You're going to be able to take what I'm giving you, what I'm offering you. You're going to be able to take it from my hand in this proper time. I am the bread of life. You're going to be able to eat from me. New wine. Grapes. What is that? The blood of Jesus. He said, you will drink from me too. You will eat from me, you will drink from me. And what else? Oil. How do we make oil? The olives. So all of this involves planting. You see where I'm going with this? I have to plant something for Jesus to come, for the Lord to come and pour some water on it. I have to give him something to bless. Because we ask God for a lot of blessings, he's like, you're not really giving me anything to work with here. Lord, I want you to bless my finances, but we do this. But it's mine. My finances. Not your finances, my finances. We need to learn how to talk. Ask, oh Lord, bless me in my health. My health. Bless me in my health as I just keep trying to change my diet, but I won't do it, God, because I like to eat these things, but I want you to bless my health. You're not giving me anything to work with here, man. I can't pour water over you if you keep taking it and making it your own. I can't do that. If you want me to bless your finances, you need to give it to me. If you want me to bless your health, you need to give it to me. If there's anything else in your life you just want me to bless, you want me to bless your marriage, you want me to bless your relationship, you need to offer it to me. You need to plant it so I can pour water on it and watch it grow. But if you don't plant any of these things, I cannot pour water on it. You're not going to see growth if you don't plant these things in my soil. And what I've told you to plant in, to make me the center of it, I need something to bless. You keep asking for blessings, but you're not giving it to me. You're not giving me anything to bless. Because we ask for it, but we want it our way, not his way. I want you to bless my finances my way. I want you to bless my marriage my way. Bless my relationships my way. I can't work with that. God can't work with that. He can't. He needs something to work with. And so if we keep planting these seeds of thinking, I can do this myself, no, he can't. He needs something to water. Okay? So with all this planting, the grain, the wine, the oil, we need those olives to extract the anointing, healing oil of God. And the thing with all these three items is they all need to be crushed. All of it needs to be crushed. The grain needs to be crushed to make bread. The grapes need to be crushed to make wine. The oil needs to be crushed, or the olives need to be crushed to make oil. It involves crushing. So once you reap that harvest, well, it's time to go crush it now. It's now time to put pressure on what you've harvested. And then when you see, when we talked about it, how we're enduring the pressure, when God's just pressing. Oh, now I'm getting bread out of it. Oh, now I'm getting wine out of it. Oh, now I'm getting oil out of it. Once it's harvest time, it ain't over yet. Now it needs to go through a process. Now the fruit has to go through something. It needs to go through a certain process now, so now it can actually be used. We don't like that part either, though. So we wait so long for the harvest, and we're going in there, we're grabbing our grain, we're grabbing our grapes, we're grabbing our olives, we're grabbing all this stuff. I have no use for this right now. I mean, I can just eat the grain, but I can do more with it. It's not just eating the grain, you can do more with that. Yeah, you can just eat the grapes, but you can get more out of it. Instead of just eating it the way it is, if you actually let me work in your life and give me your grapes, give me your olives, give me your bread, you'll see what else I can do with it. But it needs to be crushed. So you need to give me. We need to give God the best of our harvest. Here you go, Lord. Crush it. Crush it. I need you to crush it. Because I know I'm going to get something out of what I am giving to you. I'm going to see it grow. Jesus was the bread, the wine, and the blood. And it all started with a seed. And they all had to be crushed. And it says you will eat and be satisfied. When you do this, you're going to eat, because we've all eaten places where you're not satisfied. Like I told you, the school lunch. I ate there, I'm like, oh man, school lunch. Okay. We've all eaten somewhere where we're just like, that was not good at all. But God is saying, if you plant in me, you're going to eat out of your harvest and you're going to be satisfied. Because I've eaten in other places, but you always come out unsatisfied. It didn't work. And that's why we keep going back. Didn't work. It might work this time. No, it's not going to work this time. It's funny when, guys and girls, I don't know, I keep dating the same guy and I just keep getting the same, yeah, you're going to get the same results. Whether it's the guy with the girl with the guy, it's not going to change the next time. It's not. You need to plant somewhere different. You need to plant somewhere different. You need to plant it in God to actually see something different and see something grow. You've tried the world, and the world failed you. You've tried to plant out there. I've tried to plant seeds out in the world. It didn't work. The world does not care about you whatsoever. I told Isabella that while she was in my wife's belly. The world doesn't care about you. The world doesn't owe you anything. I told her that. So she already knows now, since she was in the belly, the world has absolutely nothing to offer and the world does not care about me. But if you plant in this, just give it a try. I don't know who I'm talking to you, but you've planted in other places. Give God a try and try planting in Him. And you're going to see the difference and you're actually going to be satisfied. The world does not satisfy. It might satisfy for maybe 20, 15 minutes, and then that's it. It doesn't satisfy out there. It has nothing to offer you. It might satisfy your flesh, but your spirit is just like, man, I'm thirsty. And you're like trying to go all these places to feed your spirit, and none of it is working, none of it is satisfying because you're not eating from the bread, you're not drinking from the wine, you're not using the oil that God already has. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. First Corinthians 3. Number 3, we're going to start at 5. What then is Apollos and what is Paul? Apollos and Paul were partners when Paul planted a church and Apollos pretty much was looking over it. Okay? But in this time, it was Paul and Apollos who were getting all the attention. Okay? These guys were like, oh man, these guys are awesome. They were like the T.D. Jakes and Stephen Furtick at the top. Okay? This is them. Man, there's Apollos and there's Paul. Like, wow, those guys. That's who they were. And at the beginning of this, the church was being divided because there's people saying, well, I'm following Apollos. Well, I'm following Paul. Now there's division because they were saying, oh, I'm following him, and that's what happened. Not much has changed. We see that here today too, where man is following man. Where man is not necessarily following God, saying, God, where do you want me to be? Where do you planted me? Now we're just following the person around. Okay? So that's where this is stemming from. So what then is Apollos? What is Paul? They are servants through whom you believed. So there are people, that through them you came to believe into Christ. And each has the role the Lord has given. I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. So then neither one who plants nor the one who waters is anything, but only God who gives the growth. Now the one planting and the one watering are one in purpose, and each will receive his own reward according to his own labor. You are nothing. You will plant, God gives the water, you nurture it, you nurture your seed, you're looking after it, God is the one who gives the growth. It's not you. If at any point in time you think, this was me, I gave the growth here, you're wrong. It was God who gives the growth. Paul planted, Apollos watered. God is the one who said, I can make this grow now. Because when we water things sometimes with our own, and it's, again, it won't grow. Sometimes it just won't. Because you're trying to do it on your strength. When you try to do things on your strength, it's not going to grow. There's people out there that just, man, I'm getting all the water I can, but it's just nothing's happening here. Yeah, because you're doing it on your own. You're doing it on your own strength. It's not going to grow that way. That's not how God does things. He is the one who provides the growth. So whether you're the planter or you're the one watering, you have to realize that God is the one who is going to make that seed actually grow into something that will give fruit. And they are one in one purpose, and each will receive his own reward according to his own labor. Because sometimes people get jealous of, well, I want to be the water, well, I want to be the planter. It doesn't matter who you are. You just got to do what God called you to do. Why? Because you're the one who's going to receive the reward of your own labor. So, you know what? If your job is mopping the floor, and that is your role, you better take it serious. Because God is going to look at it and say, how did you handle your role? You did a great job. Here's your reward. But we can't look at whatever our role is and be like, and make it small. That's the thing. We take sometimes the seed that God gives us and says, I want to plant this tree. I want the oak tree seed. I want the big one. I want to plant the big tree, not the little puny tree. I don't want that. I want to plant the big one. And God is like, stop paying attention to that stuff. Stop paying attention to size and puny and big and small. No, this is what I'm telling you to plant. You need to nurture it. If that's what I'm telling you to plant, you need to look after it. And when my rain comes, you're going to see it grow, and it's going to give off that fruit. But you cannot minimize what God is calling you to do. I feel like a lot of people do that to themselves. They take what God is calling to do and put it down here when God sees it like here, but we're like, God, I see it here, man. I just don't feel like it's working. I don't feel big. I want to feel like everyone else. I want to feel like what I see on TV. I want to, and God's just like, if you only knew. I don't have a ruler that says, this ministry is bigger than that one, this ministry. They're all on a line. I don't look at, oh, that one's bigger than that one. Oh, yeah, I'm going to bless that one more. And he doesn't do that. But we do that to ourselves. We think, oh, those are here, then I'm here. So I'm not really going to give it my best, give it my all, because what's the point? I'm not reaching anybody. I'm not reaching anything. What are we doing here? And that's where God is preparing you. Because what you did with the little, or what you consider little, you gave it like it was huge. And that's how you need to treat everything. That's how you need to treat everything. Even though it looks small, you got to treat it like it's big. Because if you look at something when it's small and treat it like it's big, when that rain comes, wow, the harvest that's going to come. But you need to stop looking at these things like they're this small, and you got to look at them like, man, this is huge to me. Like me graduating high school, I was like, whatever, it was high school, but what's the big deal? My mom was super excited. She's like, oh my gosh, this is big. I'm like, oh, it was high school. I still have like 4 more years to graduate college. Then you can celebrate about that one. But my problem was I was seeing it like this, when everyone else was seeing it like it was a really big deal. And same, even when I graduated college, some people, it's like, yeah, you're supposed to do that. But that's something I looked at like, man, that was huge. Because that is, I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I made it, but I made it. I'm here, I graduated. And you look back and you're like, wow, man, I remember those times, those days where it was just, you were challenged, and but it's in those moments that God just really prepares you for what is to come. Those times where you didn't sleep, those times that you were up all night crying, those times where you just studied, those times where you didn't think you were going to pass, you didn't think you were going to make it, and then there you go, God opens the door, and you made it. But it requires sacrifice on your part. It requires something from you. It requires what? Carefully following the commands that God has given you. And yes, sometimes you might have to stay up a little late. Sometimes you might have to wake up a little early. Farmers wake up very early, very, very early, to prepare for the rain that's going to come. But the one who wakes up late doesn't get his work done, doesn't get his time finished. So then when the rain comes, what happens? I'm not ready for it. And sometimes when it comes early, you know why we're talking about that. When it comes early, then we're scrambling. Oh my gosh, I gotta get all these things prepared. Oh, it's here, it's here. It's gonna pass right over you. And that's how the coming of the Lord is gonna be. People are gonna be scrambling. Oh, where do I get the oil? Where do I get? He's here. The time's now. You can go try and it's here now, it's come. The day has come. You had all this time to prepare for this day. You had all the opportunities in the world to prepare for this time. And what did you do? You missed it. Because you just wanted to keep on sleeping. And now he's here to wake you up. If you're that person who's sleeping, you need to wake up. If God is telling you to plant, you need to go plant that seed, wake up early and plant that thing. If you actually want to see it grow and follow the commands that Christ has given you. Let's stand and pray.